Are you tired of people always telling you what you want to hear and not what you need to hear? Me too. Are you ready to actually do something about it? Hi, I'm Loren Lahav, and for the past 30 plus years, I've been blessed to speak and to impact thousands of people around the world. I've shared the stage with the world's top thought leaders, including Barbara Walters, Tony Robbins, Barbara Corcoran, and Gary Vaynerchuk. I'm also a personal development, lifestyle, and business coach, event producer, and entrepreneur with businesses in over 25 countries. I'm a wife and a proud mama to 3 and a bonus mom to 1. Trust me when I tell you, it took me many years of buying into my old story of I'm not enough and lots of grit to finally let go of the BS. So I understand firsthand what it means and what it took. They don't call it the School of Hard Knocks for nothing. This podcast is my way of breaking down the BS filters of what we say, what we do, and how we interact with others. I will be sharing what worked for me, yet more importantly, what didn't work for me. This is a no fluff podcast where we will address real life issues that seem to surface when you least expect it, relationship conflict and breakdowns, and real solutions. I will share from my life experiences and those of other everyday heroes, as well as the world's top experts, are all here to help you grow through the process of letting go and finally expressing your true voice, who you are and what you stand for. In a world of political correctness and living our lives on social media, it's hard to know what is real. And are you taking in so much information but not applying what you've learned? In my life, I always look to the people who understand what I'm going through and are willing to get honest and forthcoming with me to help me grow through these challenges. Trust me, I've had them all, and I'm going to take the time to be as real as possible and get to solutions. I've had financial issues, parenting issues, marriage issues, emotional issues. You know, the list goes on. I've learned from my challenges, I've grown from them, and continue to learn from them. I see them now as opportunities. With this podcast, we're going to tune up our lives. I'll be your cup of espresso to get you through whatever you're going through in your life that's holding you back, to give you that confidence and trust of knowing someone is there to help and guide you, yet you have to do the work. So strap in, hang on tight, and let's get real. All right, well, you guys strap your seatbelt on because get ready for a ride. I love this woman. I don't know if I just love your first name so much that I just feel like I want to go eat one of those Dolce, creme, whatever you call it. You'll tell me whatever
Dolce de leche.
Oh, yes. Oh my gosh. When you come back to Vegas, I'm telling you, we are going to Scarpetta's, and you tell me if that's a good one because I love it so much. So anyway, when I think of you, I have a very sweet feeling. How about that? Is that a great way to express it? Get ready, you guys, to hear from an extraordinary woman, Dolce Conde. She is a business strategist and runs an international consulting firm that educates and support women at different stages in their business. So wherever you're at, she can help you. She provides services in both English and Spanish. She is a serial entrepreneur with a commitment to healthcare. She is CEO and founder of Knowing Labs, a clinical laboratory focused on performance testing, created to empower the community to be both proactive, to monitor and improve their physical, emotional, and sexual health from the convenience and privacy of your own home. So Dolce, oh my gosh, when Brian introduced me to you, I'm like, this woman is going to be in my life forever. I am so excited. And first of all, thank you for your generosity for providing the Knowing Labs testing kits for all of our VIPs at the Own Your Worth event. And I know that everybody was just blown away by your generosity. So first of all, thank you for that. It says a lot about you. And you were freaking a rock star, man. I could just sit and listen to you for hours. Let's talk though about your passion of really helping women entrepreneurs up-level their businesses and up-level their confidence in starting a business. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yes, well, first of all, thank you for inviting me to be here. And it has been a really honor to meet you and I'm so grateful with Brian for the introduction, and I really hope that we can be in each other's lives for forever, because if you think of me, and it's just like a sweet, warm feeling, when I think of you, I just feel empowered, because you do such a great job, like really providing the resources for two different women in different arenas to be able to empower them in every area of their life. So thank you so much for what you're doing for us, Loren.
Oh, it was fun, huh? We had a good first get together. Excited about this next year of doing our event together as well. So talk to me a little bit. You know, I know that so many women are really hungry to have something of their own, to call their own. You know, when I talk to a lot of, I remember a friend of mine, her husband was wildly successful, and she had all of the things and she could go all the places. And so there was, when someone talked to her about, you know, she was really looking to have her own thing, though. She wanted something that she could be proud of. And I think there are a lot of women in that place. Either they're looking to start something on a business on their own, or maybe they've been an employee for so long and now they're really looking for a passion project, but they go, oh my gosh, I don't have any business experience. Can you share a little bit about what you do and how you started that? I mean, how did you start?
Yes, thank you. Of course, women in business is a long conversation. So we're gonna try to cover, you know, the highlights of everything, but definitely it's a very interesting and deep topic, because I think that we women have a nature tendency to be obviously the nurturers of our homes, and sometimes that implies also to be the providers, you know, for good or for bad, for whatever is worth, sometimes we end up with the providers. So I had been in the business space for many years myself. I started my first official company. Since I was little, I was always into business, Loren. I was the one girl in the one kid in the school that I was always selling something to the classmate, right? So the office supplies or food or cookies or whatever. So I was always being driven by business, but also healthcare has been a very important topic in my family. My grandfather was a physician, my mom was a nurse. So healthcare was always something that, you know, was part of our conversation. So as I grown up, I was very blessed to be able to combine the passion I have for business and the passion I have for healthcare. And I started my first official business in 2007. So I started my business, you know, like I was just a really got my baby that same year. So I was a new mom and I was giving birth to both my child and my company. And it was a very interesting journey. And I didn't know what I didn't know. And thank God for that, because otherwise probably I would have not done it. But also I wish I have a little bit more of tools and resources and people who had actually guided me through the process, because it was a long, painful process and it was expensive, you know, to be able to, I always tell my clients, like, you can make all the mistakes yourself, or you can learn from the mistakes of others and then make the process a little bit easier for you. So it was it was everything into healthcare in my case, my business. So many friends of mine start asking me like, oh, what do you do in this situation? Or, you know, I have this situation in my company. What do you think I should do? And I was just giving them advice here and there. And I remember one of them asked me if I can be helping her to do something in the human resources department of her company, because they were having a lot of lawsuits by employees and it seems to be a mess and they didn't know what was going on. So I was not really excited about it because I had my own companies. I was not doing consulting formally, but she asked me, she's like, please help me. So I got into her company. I started putting all the processes together for human resources. We were able to find what was the reason of the lawsuits, fix the situation, reduce the cost in, you know, as a value-added service, just because it was a little bit disorganized. There were more employees that they needed. The pay was all over the place. So they saved money. They were able to get all the compliance in place and everybody was happy, the employees and the owners. So because of that one exercise, you know, she told other people and other people started calling me. And that's how this consulting program started. It was just more like a call that I felt that I had to pay it forward for all the people who helped me in some point in my life to help other women. And why I chose women, Loren, is because I saw my mom working 3 or 4 jobs when I was little to be able to provide food to our table. And when I woke up, she was gone. And when she was back, I was already asleep. So I know that she loved me and she loved all of us, but she had to work. There was not an option. You know, she has to work for us. So I thought there should be a better way to do this. I mean, and I think that we are in a place in society and in, you know, technology that we can actually become financially successful, run successful enterprises without compromising our priorities. And our priorities, I mean, our own health, our family, our husband, and our children, and our sanity. You know, like there are ways to do things that it's about balance. I think it's about finding the right processes, the right tools, the right staff to make it happen.
Right. So funny. You inspire me a lot and remind me of myself a lot too. My brother and I, the same thing. It was interesting. I saw my dad was an optometrist. And so he had his own practice. And if he didn't go to work, you know, he didn't make money. And then my mom, we grew up at the flea market. I said, so we were packing boxes at 4 a.m, unloading boxes. And it was like, they did whatever they could. And so we started my brother and I did at the flea markets, we made leather belts. Remember where you would stamp them and like color them and the whole thing. And I love that. What inspired you to, what was your very first business? What was your very first business?
When I was little or like officially?
When you were little. I want to know about the one when you were little, other than, yeah.
You know, I was 7 years old. I was I think it was second grade school. And I remember that there was always somebody in my classmates that were forgetting something. They were like, do you have a pen? Do you have a pencil? Do you have an eraser? And, you know, we're all like giving away our stuff or lending our stuff. And one day we're about to start a test in the school, an exam. And there is this girl said, like, do you have a pencil? And I had one pencil, right? Like one pencil I have. And I look at her and it just clicked, Loren. And I said, like, well, I can sell you half of my pen for like, let's say 10 cents or whatever it was back in the day, right? And she's like, okay, yeah, because she needed the pencil to be able to do the exam. So I cut my pencil in half, give the one half to her, and get the other half for myself. And that was my first sale. And I remember the feeling I got about making a financial transaction, resolving somebody's needs, being able to help her to have what she needed to the exam, but making money in the process. And it's a feeling I can never forget, Loren.
I love that you said that you saw a need, right? You saw the need. And, you know, and you were like, how can I be the solution to help her solve the need? And then you were that feeling of being able to help her. I love to see how your face lights up when you go back to
it's good. You know, we were like so poor. Like, so I went back home with my mom, like, mom, look at this, look at I sold. So I asked my mom for a loan. And of course we were like very poor, right? So what kind of loan she can give me? She gave me like just a little few pesos. And then I went to the office supplies store that was crossing the street from my house. You know, it's not like Office Depot. It was just this tiny little office supply stores. And I got different office supplies. And the next day I went back to school and I started promoting my business, right? I started like doing marketing. And I said, like, you know, I have this and I have this and I have this or whatever. And so I went to go to person. And then the people in my class started telling people in other classrooms. So everybody was coming to me for something. And then I remember that right before summer, we have this celebration where we have to find like, I think it was like the queen of the spring or something, where there are like different girls, you know, competing to become the queen of the school and da. So of course I was not chosen because I was just so tiny and petite, and it was so funny. I was never going to be able to compete in that arena, but we were supporting the person that was nominated in our classroom by selling food. We were selling cookies and gums and this and that. And I remember that I was the one who sold the most. I was raising the most money for her. So the event happened, the event passed by, and I just kept the business. I kept selling cookies and lollipops and this and that. So I grew my business from office supplies to office supplies plus these other little eatables. So and that's how I actually support my family, you know, like I support my mom in doing that.
It's interesting, right? Like you saw the need, and you saw that the need wasn't there just for that event too, like to raise the money for the contest. It's like people are like, I still want the cookies, right? Like, and so then you're like, okay, I love it. I'm learning a lot. I mean, hopefully everybody's thinking about themselves too, with regards to, my mom opened a candy store. It was called Doty's when I was in high school. And it's the same thing I probably gave away more than I probably bought. That was my challenge. And then when I went to college, like I said, my dad was an optometrist and everybody was buying Ray-Ban Wayfarers and I could get them for cost. So I was like, hey, I'll just charge you a little bit more than, cost, and then we'll sell this. But let's talk about this for a second. Were there any challenges that you faced? Even just talk as a little girl and as you grew businesses. Are there any challenges that you faced when you started your businesses?
Well, yes. One thing that you should know is that me selling office supplies and candies and cookies drove my mom to open a convenience store at home. And in Mexico, it's not like in America, right? You have to have like this brick and mortar business. I mean, like it was just like the living room in our house became a convenience store. So it kind of like the business evolved into the family business. And as far as challenges, well, in that age, she was just selling in the school, right? So the challenge I faced was about regulations because obviously the school didn't know about it. So when the school find out, we're not happy because I was taking business away from the actual cafeteria from the school, right? So the cafeteria from the school started offering office supplies so the kids can buy from there, not from me. So I have to reinvent myself. I couldn't sell cookies anymore and I couldn't sell office supplies anymore. And by this time I was already on middle school. So I said, like, what can I sell that is not gonna be interfering? So you do diversify, I guess. That will be the next phase, diversify. So my mom, although she was a nurse, she was an amazing cook. I mean, she went to study to become a chef as well. So she loves the kitchen. She loves cooking, which is like a disgrace for me because I'm the only child in my house who doesn't really know how to cook, but she's very good at it. So she taught me one recipe, Loren. She taught me how to do cheesecake.
Ooh, see, I knew when I thought of you, I thought of sweetness. See, okay, the whole shebang. Yes.
Only recipe I know how to do. So she told me to do cheesecake. She's like, I'm gonna do it for you once. I'm gonna teach you how to do it, but then you're on your own. You have to do it yourself. Which it was also a very important lesson from my mom to don't do it for me. I have to figure it out and learn to do it, right? So I learned to do cheesecake, and I was doing big pies of cheesecake, and I started putting like different slices and selling it to stores. So I went downtown, store by store, and I was after the school, and I started selling cheesecake to everybody. But then I faced another challenge. People did not want to get a slice because they thought that might be contaminated by the other slices that were cut. They didn't know who put their hands into it. So people were like, yeah, I want, but you know what, I want this. So I came up with the idea of making tiny versions of cheesecake that are individual, probably the same amount of a slice of a big pie, but just were individual containers. And then people was more excited to buy it because they didn't have to buy the whole pie. It was just like a bite, I guess. But and it was easier for me to sell it, so I had to make more. But you know, that was the next step. So every challenge I face, I have to find a way to overcome it. And I think anybody in business is going to face challenges. Challenges are part of running a company. And you know this, of course, Loren, because you run a company yourself. So there are different challenges that we face. So the goal is not to avoid the challenge. Yes, we need to prepare to minimize predict the challenges we can face and do something before they happen. But there are things that are going to happen no matter what. And when they come, we need to be creative and how to solve it, because there are only two options, Loren. We give up or we find a way to make it work. And I will always go for the second one.
Well, I love that because, I mean, just listening to you, you said a couple of things. One, you're great and you can pivot, right? A lot of people get so attached either to their product or to this idea and they're not willing to pivot. So when you went from, being able to have the candies and this and the office supply, and then they said, sorry, we're done, right? Look what happened for so many people during that. I call it the mandatory pause in the world. They didn't know what to do. And then you also said something, I don't know, you said something interesting, like that I had to do it. You had to do it because in your heart, it was like this compassion, you know, like I have to find a way or I'll make a way. What would you say to those people who have maybe excuses of why they can't start their business, why it's not going to work? What would you say to them?
I think one of my favorite phrases when I came to America, and I found it through this language, was, when there is a will, there is a way. If you have the will to make something happen, there is always going to be a way to make it happen. And when you are, and I probably don't want to deviate the topic, but I have found that our energy vibration plays an important role into making things happen and finding a way to make things happen. So when my energy, my vibration, with my mindset is about, I'll find a way, I do find a way.
I know.
But when I am more into the mindset, like, I don't know, you know, it's just, I'm not sure. There is no open, there are no doors to open. I mean, there are not even about no opening the door. The door doesn't even exist. I mean, it's unbelievable how our attitude toward things play an important role on our ability to resolve those things.
It's interesting. I was just going to ask you, what resources did you find most helpful when starting a business? And it sounds like, one, deciding that you're going to find a way or make a way. It was more a mindset than actual resources. Would you say that that's the case? I mean, you know me, I think it all comes back to your mindset with regards to everything.
I think that the mindset plays an important role, but sometimes, Loren, mindset is misunderstood. I don't think mindset is about, yes, I can do it, and do you know the brilliance? I don't think the mindset is just that. We definitely need to have a business plan for it. We need to be able to calculate the cost, the staff, the channel, we need to plan. Absolutely. But as I learned through life, 80% is really my attitude toward it, and 20% is actually the execution of it. And it cannot be more true that the way that they present it, because it works. I mean, like, absolutely, there is although it's at 20%, the tools, the plan, is needed. You cannot just go with the 80% of the mindset. And about the mindset, it has to be the right concept of the mindset, because I can go and do my morning exercises and my positive self-talk, and that's not going to change my mindset. Mindset is something more broad.
We talk about, you can intend all you want, but you got to get off your ass and go do something, right? You have to go do the do. And I love what you said, one of, I think you saw Rhonda Vadiri, one of the ladies who, she donated a book to all the VIPs. It was called Grit and Grind. And she said in the book, the most important thing is, one, you have to prepare. You have to be prepared. And can we talk a little bit about preparations? What advice would you give women about starting their own business and some of the preparation that they should do?
That's actually part of one of the programs that I have about helping women to prepare, like whether they're about to start or they already started and it didn't come up as they thought they're going to come up. They didn't come up as planned, because preparation requires, you need to prepare yourself, but also you need to have a very clear idea what is your plan. I have a client who opened this company and is doing a variety of probably 25 different services. So she's spreading herself way too much. And I was having a conversation with her this morning, like, you need to have probably narrowed down to the 5 services that are actually moving the needle in your business, because you are an expert of nothing when you can be an expert on things. So there are some level of preparation for sure that they need to find guidance on how to prepare. There's so much information on the internet. There's some information that is free, but of course there is amazing people like you and me and others who can help them to find the way to actually make things happen. And although the idea may be great, maybe the product is the best, but there has to be, it's not just having a good social media page or having 1,000 or 100,000 followers. It's about how to run a business, because a lot of people, Loren, I have found this, a lot of people is very successful on making the money, but they are not very successful at managing the company. And we have seen many with celebrities, you and I have seen this so many times, where they are so famous and they're charging so much for these movies or these songs, and they die poor.
Yeah.
Because it's not just about making the money, it's about managing the money, managing the people, managing the company. And as I have learned with Tony Robbins, right, there are people who are artists, other people are entrepreneurs, other people are managers, and I guess we are all a little bit of everything, a combination on everything, but there are definitely skills that we need to develop. We need to develop this, learn those skills. Anybody can own a business, Loren. Anybody can be a business owner. Not everybody becomes an entrepreneur. There are different things.
Very, very different. And I think that's a great thing to be teaching. So what would you say the difference is between being a business owner and being an entrepreneur?
Usually a business owner is just a person who just set up a company and, okay, I own a business, right? But usually there are not really the skill mastery of how to run a company. And my experience is like a business owner ended to be a business operator, and then to be the one who's doing everything. And we ended more exhausted. Sometimes we have even less money than when we were an employee. Just have a flat fixed salary, and sometimes we're more frustrated, sometimes we're neglecting our health or our families even more. So a business owner is just like the ego, or say like, I own a company. Right? Entrepreneur is like, I'm gonna educate myself. What is the best way to run this company? Because maybe I'm not the person who should run the company. Maybe I'm an artist. Maybe I'm really good at doing this, but managing the company, the people, they are not my skills. So I think that the business skills is something that we need to learn and develop. The good news is that we don't have to be born with the skills of entrepreneur. Those are things that we can learn through life.
Yeah, and
through these programs.
What?
We can learn through life, but also through educating us in these programs that are available, right?
Absolutely. One of my favorite programs I went to was Keith Cunningham, the 4-day MBA program. I learned so much there, with regards to it, symptoms versus causes. And most people focus on the symptoms versus the cause was, maybe you didn't set up a business plan in the very beginning of knowing what you're looking, and you're focusing on, why am I not getting more customers? Why am I not getting this? Why aren't people blah, 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 blah? And those are all symptoms because you haven't really looked at the cause. That was a huge breakthrough for me. I'm sure for you as well. You've got so much great knowledge. So how have you built a strong network and community of support as a woman entrepreneur?
I think we definitely need to have a network to support us, because it really takes a village. Everything that we do in life takes a village. And I truly believe, and this sounds like cliches, but they are so true, Loren. We become the people we surround ourselves with. We truly become the people we surround ourselves with. So I might not be able to be friends with, I don't know, Oprah, but there are things I still can learn from her. Like there are people that we need to follow and learn from them, but there are also people that might be more accessible to be able to learn from them. And probably some people can buy one of your masterminds that you sell, and be able to access to your knowledge and to your experience, your expertise, to your network, and be able to grow as a person, as a result of that. And I think that they are definitely find the right people to learn from, because also there are so many fake ones out there. There are so many people now. Everybody's a coach. Everybody's a coach nowadays.
I know, but no, now it's like, I'm a coach. Let me guess, you're a coach. And then I go, let me guess, you're a lifestyle coach. Let me guess, you're a health coach, right? Like you said, and it's like, sometimes people have their intentions good, but they have just enough information that they're dangerous. And I think that they're, like I said, like their intention's good, but you got to make sure that you're really doing the right. I remember I was talking to Bob Proctor, obviously before he passed away. And I said, Bob, I owe you an apology. And he said, why do you say that, Loren? I said, because I poo-pooed for a long time, experience, like just like how long he had been in the business. I said, now I get it. I said, if somebody who's been in the world of, personal development for now 34 years for myself, I'm like, man, like I have so much experience, and we always talk about how much time you need before you become an expert. And when people ask me like about speaking, I'm like, just get out there and start speaking. I don't care if you speak to a freaking bunch of Barbie dolls, get out there and just start speaking, go to senior homes and share with them, go and just volunteer, go to schools, do whatever. If you really want to get be better, you've got to get out there and spend time in the trenches. What would you say about that, about just time in the trenches, if you would?
Definitely. I think that you need to, women that are listening to this, really go and learn from the people who has walked the path. It's not that I went to a seminar and now I'm an expert on. I went to this one seminar and now I am a coach on. They have to show the results. And one of the things that you mentioned, Keith Cunningham, has been one of my mentors. Definitely, I have took all his trainings, all of them. I have learned so much from him. And actually, he's one of the people who inspired me to open one of the programs I have. He has like the chairman of the board program. I have a program called Board of Advisor that is like a version of what he's doing. Obviously, no other level. He's Superman, right? I'm not even Robin, but to compare to Keith Cunningham, but definitely he has inspired much of my work and also the ethics of the work that I do. Because I had mimicked some of the ethics that he has about I am not, because some consultants like me are getting a piece of the company from their clients. And I felt absolutely not comfortable doing something like that. And I admire Keith so much. I have been able to be blessed to meet him personally and his wife, Sandy, and spend time with them. But just as a teacher of business, I have learned so much of the ethics from him, and I love Keith. But definitely one of the reasons that you and I love Keith Cunningham is not because his charisma, it's because he actually speaks about what he has done wrong, how he lost all these millions of dollars and what he has done to be able to recover from there. And you can see it on his own businesses. The same way that people goes to your mastermind and see it on your life. And the same people that I get clients in the business, and I still running companies. I am not just a consultant or a business coach. I still run everywhere. Right now, I'm in one the office, I'm in the laboratory today, and I was just having a meeting with my staff, and I just have a meeting with my managers for the hospice, and I is still very hands-on, very involved into what is going on with the companies. Right now, I'm in a different stage where I don't do day-to-day operational. I am more like overseeing the strategy and the direction and training my managers. But definitely the most thing that we need to be careful, Loren, is that choose to learn from people who has evidence of what they are teaching. Right. So if I am going to be a nutritional coach or I'm going to have a problem to lose weight, I have to be in a good shape. Otherwise, how did you believe me?
Right. It's so funny. I don't know, I might've said it before on a podcast, but years and years ago, this girl came and she cleaned my closet. It was like this professional, closet or whatever, a fashion consultant person. And she came and she takes these big black bags and starts throwing all my favorite things away. And I'm like, oh. And so then when I went to New York to go visit her, went to her house and I go, where's your bedroom? And she's like, downstairs. And I'm like, and I start walking downstairs. She goes, what are you doing? I go, I'm going to see your closet, because you came and took all my stuff. And she goes, don't go down there because it's a mess. And I made such a huge breakthrough that day. I was like, I will always invite people to my home because I want them to see that I am walking the talk, right? And I love what you said, they have to show evidence of results, right? Evidence. So you shouldn't go try to clean up the community until you clean up your own backyard. And like you said, for me, what drives me is I'm a connector. I'm I love to connect people. And that's why, and I know that's a reason a lot of people do come to, I hope, be a part of the mastermind or come to an Own Your Worth event, whatever it is, because they'll go, oh, Loren will know somebody, that can help us with this and that. And I'm like you, I don't take a piece of anything. It's just kind of I just want to help you. I just want to connect you. I was just at an event this weekend, and the people that I was at the event for, I was smiling because I looked at how many people they called me about, do you know somebody who can do this? Do you know someone who can do that? Do you know who this and that? And, their staff of I think probably about 25 people, I think about 10 of them were people that I found for them. Right. And it just felt so good. And not that they've just been there for a month or 2 months. They've been there for 3, 4, 6, 8 years now. And so I think that stepping into your passion and, like you said, like whether it's selling cookies at school or finding pens, find a need and do that. So what are your goals for the future with your businesses, and how do you hope to achieve them?
Oh my goodness, that's a very tough question. I have a lot of goals for my businesses. I think one of the things I have been doing different nowadays, Loren, this is a new season for me. And now I am being more selective of the business I get involved with. Because before everybody invite me to a business opportunity, like, yes, and I was jumping to invest and I was jumping to open this other company. And now I'm being more selective. I'm really passionate about healthcare. So most of my business are really just healthcare related. I believe in products, but I believe in services as well. And most of my business are service related. Nothing wrong with products, but it's just what I feel more passionate about, to provide a service. Like the hospice company is it's a medical service for people that is terminally diagnosed. I mean, it's not a sexy business to promote, but it's a business that we need, because at the end of the day, we're all going to die, and it's not an easy topic to talk to the families. So I really feel that making a difference in people's lives in a very sensitive stage. The laboratory, in the same token, the laboratory for me is not to get a diagnostic when you are sick, is how you monitor your body so you don't get sick. So if you prevent something from happening. And in the consulting arena, well, that's just, I just have a lot of fun, because whenever I see these women transforming not just their business, Loren, but their lives, become better, not just better entrepreneurs, but better moms, better wives, because everything is connected. And the majority of the issues in the business has to do with our personal lives. Yes. So we start fixing one thing and everything start fixing. And when I see their smiles, their shift in the energy, the expression of their faces, there is no money who can pay me to be able to compare to the same level of satisfaction. It's just, I feel I'm making a difference, because I feel that if I change one woman's life, I'm changing generations.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Amen. I got my amens over here. I got a sign. An amen sign. It's interesting. I know during that, I call it the mandatory pause in the world. I don't call it the C word of what happened for the past 3 years. And I was listening to Dr. Zach Bush, and he obviously started as, help, I think he was a pediatrician, but also an OBGYN, something that he did. And then he also was a hospice doctor as well. And he said, the two most important times are bringing a baby into the world and also making sure that the exit out is as beautiful as the entrance into the world. And I will have to say I'm beyond grateful for hospice, because when my dad transitioned 18 years ago and he was in hospice, and it was one of the most beautiful experiences, mostly because of the people that were there working in hospice. So thank you for all the work that you're doing with hospice work as well.
Thank you. The credit goes to my staff, the nurses, the CNAs that are in the front lines taking care of those families. They are the real heroes.
Yeah, and they really are. It was very interesting when my dad was in hospice, and I guess they are so in tune of what's happening in every stage. And I guess my dad started doing something called modeling. And when my mom would be there with my brother, he would start modeling, and my mom would say, "You need to come down here because this is it." And then when I would get there, he would stop modeling. And then when my mom would come back with my brother, because he was not able to talk, he was intubated. And then he would come back and this and that. And then the hospice nurse grabbed me and said, "I need to talk to you." And I'm like, "What's up?" She goes, your dad's trying to give you clues right now that he doesn't want your mom to be here because he feels it'd be too painful for her. And so I remember I'm gonna cry. I remember going to my mom and I said, "You have to say goodbye to Dad." I said, "You have to say this is the time." And thanks to that hospice nurse, it gave me the strength to be able to go to my mom, to be able to say this is that. But they knew, so they experience, once again, it goes back to experience. They had so much experience that they were able to guide me of the best way to support my mom and to support my dad. So I'm very, very grateful. Well, I'm really excited about all we're going to be doing together. I'm glad that I've made the selection process. Woo! I think that I've made it past the selection process. How can people find out more about you, more about Knowing Labs and all the things that everything that you're doing, your consulting and everything?
Yeah, they can go to my consulting company. It's www.crownfirm.com, and maybe we can put it there somewhere in the bottom. For the laboratory will be knowinglabs.com, and for the hospice will be selacare.com. But maybe an easy way to do it will be just to go to dolceconde.com, and it's gonna direct them. It's gonna direct them to the actual Crown Firm website, and from there they can find the different companies.
Well, it has been amazing. I am looking forward to lots of great things together. Thank you so much. And one final question, because I ask everybody this question. What is one thing that you do every day to stay true to yourself?
I pray. I pray every day. I had my own version of gold writing, which is my prayer in writing. I had my own version of the gratitude journal, which is, giving thanks to God in writing and verbally and everything. I think that keeps me grounded. I mean, it's not just one thing I do, but I think if I have to choose the one more powerful thing will be praying. But it's not just that. I do a lot of meditation. I do gold writing for sure. I listen to different people all the time. I'm driving and I'm trying to use the no extra time to be able. I'm driving, I'm listening to a podcast, I'm listening to a book, I'm in the plane and I'm listening to, I don't watch movies, I start listening to an audiobook or something. There are so many things. I think that in the minutia is where we have the difference, Loren. Is in the things, little things that we do every day. It's not the one thing. But to me, praying is the most powerful. It's my superpower. I think that praying is more powerful than people realize. Yes. And I'm not talking about a religion or a particular faith, but I think praying connects us to the higher energy, a higher purpose, in my case, to God. And I think that it really makes miracles.
I love it. And I adore you. I'm very grateful to Brian for introducing us and looking forward to all of the great things together. All right. Have a great day. Share below, share this with everyone that you know. And we look forward to both. Dolce and I look forward to seeing you at the Own Your Worth Experience 2024. So make sure that you go to find out a little bit more about that. All right, y'all. Have a great day. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
How awesome was today? Make sure you subscribe to the podcast and invite your friends to join as well. I'm here for you with fabulous content, great guests, and lots of giveaways. To learn more of how I have taken what I've learned, applied it to my life, helped others find their true voice, text TRUE to 26786, which will give you my top tune-ups and a complimentary 15-minute discovery call with one of our coaches. And remember, keep in touch with me on Instagram at I am Loren Lahav, Facebook Loren Lahav Official, Clubhouse Loren Lahav. Make sure you text TRUE, TRUE, to 26786. Text TRUE, TRUE, to 26786. And remember to always stay true to the amazing person you are.